Hey, what's up, vinyl community? It is Glowing Double O Cabbage here, back for another video after a long break. It's great to see everybody. Uh, it's, well, I don't really see any of yous, but like, it's good to be connecting with you people, you lovely, lovely people that I've been missing. And it took a pandemic for me to make another video, so what can you do? I hope everybody's doing really well. Staying safe, washing your hands, keeping physical distancing to its required. Oh, look who it is. Say hi, Charlie. There he is. That's for Carm. He's always showing his cats. I'm so happy to see that a lot of the old video makers are still making videos, like Fred's still doing his revolutions, and Chris Cole, I watched a couple of your videos recently, and Dave Wayne teaching us how to save money by buying cheap heat. David Horowitz, delivering the mail, talking about records. James Buttery. It just goes on and on. And if I forget you, I'm sorry. Andreas, Grecian Thunder. Come on. You guys are all still there. Why shouldn't I stop in and say hello at least? I don't know how many of these videos I can make, but I've been rambling far too long now, and basically what I decided to do for this video as far as records is concerned is just show what I've been listening to lately. So and then I actually worried that, I might show records that I showed in previous videos like 10 years ago, but I don't. Whatever, it's just all music, right? So it's funny. All right, so I'm a little out of practice. Well, a lot out of practice, to be honest. But anyway, so this label, this is the only album I have from this label, but man, this is such a good album. I absolutely just love this album by Jeff Parker and The New Breed. It's called Sweet for Max Brown, and it has like all of the like who's who of some of the UK based jazz like scene now, like Micaiah McCraven, and just I won't name them all, but this is such a great album. And honestly, Jeff Parker is such a tasteful guitar player. I could listen to him play guitar all the time, seriously. And by the way, this is on International Anthem Recording Company. And pretty much, any album on this label is worth checking out and buying. It's such a good album, and just like all of the jazz musicians on there are just outlandishly good. Oh, and by the way, I got a new record player. It's a P2, is it? No, P1. Rega P1. And it's the nicest record player I've ever had. I actually bought that record player by selling like a bunch of records that I never listened to anymore. I just sold them before this pandemic set in. So I mentioned Andreas earlier, and so this is a little shout out and a hello to Andreas, because he raved about these guys a while back. And my local record store had this on sale, obviously before the pandemic. Is this how we're gonna talk now? We're gonna say like this is before or after the pandemic? Anyway, Sleaford Mods, Divide and Exit. This is so killer. What I love about this album is that it's a perfect blend of like punk. I really see punk sensibilities with this. It's just these two guys, and and sort of like poetry, like sort of in the sort of style of dub poetry, but more hip hop inflected. Anyways, it's so good, and I'll be honest, this took a little bit to like grow on me, but once it did, like, did it ever take root? Because I love this stuff now. It's got krautrock sensibilities too, and it just really covers the whole the whole gamut. It's really great stuff. What else do we got here? I got about I don't know how long this is going to be. It's already 5 minutes, but I got like probably about 20 records here. So this is a relatively like newer. I haven't really sat with this one too much, but I remember hearing this not too long ago, listening to it, and really loving one particular side more than another. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but anyway, it's all really good. But this is Steve Reed. You can't go wrong with Steve Reed too. That's another sort of musician that you can't go wrong with. Like, rest in peace. You know, he died not too long ago. But this is from 2007, and yeah, the Steve Reed Ensemble. It's got a lot of like percussion and like electronics and trumpet and guitar, and it's so good. It's really good stuff. It's on Domino Records, which I think is a little bit of a departure for what they release, but maybe not. I don't know. What do I know? Actually, it's funny enough, as another Steve Reed record. This one was released on Soul Jazz Records. This is Nova, and this is, honestly, this should be a staple in everyone's collection if you want to like explore out jazz and just like killer musicianship. I mean, there's the other musicians that are on there. What a killer album, seriously. Like, I really love Steve Reed, and I'm going to explore more of his discography. Oh, this is a great record. The Thing, again. Matt Gustafson, and I forget the other two guys. I should know this stuff, sorry. I used to do all kinds of research for my videos, but I don't know, I'm way out of... But this is really great. It has like a kind of like a punk rock free jazz feel to music, and I absolutely love it, man. It's so good. It's so good. There's the boys there. Really good stuff. A lot of these I haven't listened to in a while. Like, I mean, they're more recent listens, but I haven't really been listening to much music, to be honest, which is odd. But because there's pandemic, there's all kinds of time. Same with books. Like, I haven't been able to read books. I don't know if it's like I don't know if I'm still working, so I'm a little more on edge, I think, because I don't know. You just never know what's going to happen, right? This was a reissue, and highly recommended by somebody in the VC in one of their videos a while back. And I guess an original of this costs like ridiculous amounts of money, but it's the Gripe Galaxy Kins. I think if I remember correctly, this one has like sort of almost like a funky kind of soul jazz way of, not soul jazz, but jazz, and just like really cool stuff, like kind of groove oriented stuff, you know. Really cool album. I love the artwork on this too. I don't know why. I wish I drew that, you know. Just look at that. Look at those details. So cool. And this is an album. I'm pretty sure I showed this one in the past, but this is a fantastic album that I wish I had more of the albums from this series. This is just a sampler, so this is basically a few cuts off of like different albums that are featured on this label or this series. Wildflowers, New York Loft Jazz Sessions sampler. And there's this one tune on here. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's Jay's Kalparusha. And it's just got such a good groove with the bass and stuff. It's so good. You'll probably be able to find it on YouTube, maybe. Yeah, great stuff. I'm just trying to remember the name of that tune, but anyway. Most of this stuff is actually jazz oriented, I guess, but this is one group that everything I hear from them, and they just came out with a new album actually not too long ago that I haven't picked up, but I've heard it, is the Heliocentrics. And this album that they did with Lloyd Miller is killer. It's an original soundtrack, but I'm not really sure for what movie. I don't know if it says in here what movie it's a soundtrack for. If anybody knows, they can let me know in the comments perhaps. But Lloyd Miller and the Heliocentrics. There's a tune on here and it's called Spiritual Jazz. Spiritual Jazz. It's 7 minutes and 31 seconds long, and it is killer. It is so killer. Anyway, this album is just tops. There's the gatefold. I know I feel like I'm not really saying much about these albums, and I may be saying things erroneously, and I apologize, but that's just, I don't know, it's the way it is. This I ordered both versions of this. There's another one I couldn't find it when I was about to do this video, otherwise I would have showed it. But this is volume 2. I have volume 1 as well of Barely Breaking Even is the name of the label, and they basically collect jazz from Japan from 1969 to 1983, which is like a stellar, like, you know, time frame for jazz in any country, but especially Japan. And this has a, let's see here, I think it's a triple set if I remember correctly, or is it? Yeah, it's a triple set, that's right. So it's a triple set of like, and it runs the gamut between like, you know, hard bop to, you know, funk to everything under the sun. It's so good. It's really, really good. Like, not all tunes I really, really like, you know, love, but the ones that are really fantastic are the ones worth, you know, it's worth getting the album for that. But highly recommended both volume 1 and volume 2 of this. And look at all of the liner notes and all of the original, like, they just do such a good job of like articulating the music, which is important to me and important to all you too, I'm sure. But what else did I listen to a while back? Not doing too bad for time. A band I can't get enough of, seriously, the Next, Vertigo. This is so good. And you know what? This is another instance. I forget who it was that was. Oh, it was Fred, Big Star 1000. How you doing, Fred? Hope you're doing well, buddy. He was mentioning that some music is best to get on CD, and I wish I would have bought this, to be honest, on CD, because then it would have been seamless, and rather than having to flip over the record. I love flipping over the record, but I don't like it when the music gets kind of like, it just fades out and then it fades back up or whatever, you know. Like this is like Vertigo A, Vertigo B. I'm pretty sure that if you get the CD, it's just one continuous track, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, because yeah, Fred, you got the box set, the Japanese ambient box set. I forget the name of it now, but it has the architecture on the cover. But anyways, this is really, really cool, meandering, super inventive music, like that includes jazz and like space, and like, I mean space as in like, you know, time where things sort of develop, and you know, sort of funky bits, and just like it's so good. It's really, really highly recommended, this stuff. The Next, really good stuff. Just a few more. Hope everybody's still with me. Betty Davis. Whoa. Betty Davis, They Say I'm Different. This is a reissue. I don't think I've ever even really seen one in the wild, to be honest, an original. Super glossy, I'm just noticing. But everybody knows the story. Betty Davis was married to Miles Davis. She changed the way he dressed and his whole mentality, you know, about like being a little bit more free with his music, I think, perhaps. But anyways, this is super funky, super amount of attitude, and just like incredible music. Seriously, like I put this on and just turn it up, and just it's so grooving. I love it. I love this album so much. And Shooby Doop A Cop Him is a great tune, and so is like He Was a Big Freak. That's a funny tune, and really well done. Really good. This is another one that I order. I very rarely order albums online. I usually just buy them at my local, but I mean, this is pre-pandemic. There I go again. But anyways, I ordered this one. I saw it online somewhere, and I was like, yeah, that looks really interesting, like a nice comp, you know. And I like good comps. You know, soul jazz is a great example of a label that does great comps. But this album is by Crypt Ox. Crypt Ox is the name of the label, and it's basically, yeah, it's kraut jazz futurism. It's like the new breed, if you will, of krautrock and you know, bands that are emulating the music from the 70s Germany, but doing it well. And you know, this first tune on this called Kara by a band called Karaba, called Der Inder, it's so good. I wish I could play it. In my old videos before YouTube came with this algorithm, I used to play, I think I was grandfathered in because all my old videos still have the music that I was playing in the background, and I haven't gotten any, like, you know, copyright strikes or anything. But anyway, I wish I could play it for you guys, but then Mr. Man would come and give me a ticket. So anyway, there's a lot of bands on here that I've never heard. I only recognize Carl Hector and the Malcoons, who I love. They're such a good newer-ish band, a band that I discovered through Andreas, actually. He mentioned them a long time ago in one of their videos, and I was like, I gotta investigate that. That's what I love about the vinyl community, the whole you know, trade of information and stuff, and conversation. So if you guys have any questions or, you know, corrections, please put them at the bottom. I'm sure there's lots of corrections. So anyway, kraut jazz futurism comp. Yeah, I should show you that. So they do a little blurb on every single band, as you can see. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. And oh yeah, and this is my last record. My friend lived here for the longest time and met this girl in Japan when he was there visiting, and now he's there, like, and they're gonna have a kid and they're gonna get married and stuff. And so he gave me a few, like probably 6 or 7 of his records before he left, and one of them is an original press from Japan. And this is beautiful soundtrack music. I can't read it, so I don't know if anybody else can, but I'm pretty sure this is all just soundtrack music. But it's so gorgeous. It's like, look at this. Look at the way the Japanese have done their albums. You know, like it's so much care and thought put into it. But this is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not Japanese music. It's probably music from American films, but very well selected. And I do believe it's a compilation. I don't think it's the same artist. I don't know why I chose this album as the last one, because I know nothing about it. But except for it sounds amazing. But yeah, so that is kind of what I've been listening to, even though, like I said, I haven't been listening to too much. But I hope everybody's doing really well and keeping themselves busy during this pandemic. And it'll all pass, and then we'll go back to normal and be able to go to concerts again, and, you know, be able to go for walks with friends. And, you know, where I live, things are actually pretty tame for the most part. There like just a couple, like there was 2 new cases today, and yesterday there was none, and then, you know, 2 beforehand. But they're always acquaintances of people who have had the COVID-19. So anyways, hopefully it just peters out, and, you know, we get a handle on it. Anyway, I won't talk too much more about the pandemic. I just wanted to check in with everybody. So thanks for watching, and it's great to see everybody, even though I don't see yous, but I'm talking to yous. So maybe you can talk to me below and say